Did y'all know that in order to be the president of the United States of America, in terms of the criteria, all you had to do was meet 3 standards of criteria? You got to be a United States citizen, born in the United States of America. You got to be at least 35 years of age, and you need to have lived in the United States for the last 14 years. That's it.
Now, Stephen, come on now. You know that's not it. That man loves telling part of a story. I'll explain that to you guys later. But right now, let me remind you of this.
How much money do you need to run for president? If you've ever wondered what it takes financially to run for the highest office in the land, you're about to find out. The cost of a presidential campaign is staggering, and it's a figure that has been rising dramatically over the years. To start, let's look at some recent numbers. For the 2024 presidential election, candidates have already raised nearly $375 million just in the first 12 months of the campaign cycle. This amount is expected to skyrocket as the election draws closer. Historically, the costs have been immense. In the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton's campaign spent around $563 million, while Donald Trump's campaign spent about $333 million.
You heard that, right? Okay, let's continue.
These figures are significantly higher than those from earlier decades. For example, in the 1992 presidential election, both George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton spent around $92 million each, which is about $162 million in today's dollars. So what drives these high costs? One major factor is the increasing polarization and competitiveness of the political landscape. Another significant event was the 2010 Supreme Court decision in the Citizens United case, which allowed for unlimited independent spending in federal elections. This decision opened the floodgates for more money to flow into politics.
Grab your popcorn, because here's where it gets messy.
Advertising is a huge expense for presidential campaigns. Candidates also spend a lot on salaries, fundraising efforts, and voter outreach. In the 2020 election cycle, campaigns raised over $9 billion and spent even more, with total expenditures topping $15.4 billion by the end of the cycle. To give you a better idea, here are some specific numbers for the current election cycle. As of March 2024, presidential candidates have spent over $409 million, with Republican candidates accounting for about 68% of that total, and Democratic candidates making up about 24%. Running in the primaries is also very expensive. For instance, in the 2016 primaries, Ted Cruz and his affiliated groups raised $180 million, while Marco Rubio's campaign raised $128 million. In summary, to run for president, you need to be prepared to raise and spend hundreds of millions of dollars. The exact figure can vary, but it's clear that the financial commitment is enormous. For the 2024 election, we're already seeing record-breaking numbers, and it's likely that the total cost will exceed previous cycles.
That's it. That's all. I just wanted to remind you guys of that. Oh, and by the way, I circle Marco Rubio's name. I'll explain that later. But anyway, let's get back to what Stephen had to say.
And then I watch some of these people speak on these issues. Forgive me, I kind of think I can do a better job. I just do. I mean, in terms of articulating my positions, my thoughts, my passions, I think I can pull that off.
First of all, it's ridiculous. The idea that Stephen A. thinks that he can be president. On the other hand, it's even more ridiculous that when I look at the alternatives right now for 2028 that the Democrats have, I'd be voting for Stephen A. Who else? You got Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. You got Fetterman in Pennsylvania. Okay, once we exhaust Pennsylvania, what do the Democrats have that they're going to run in 2028? Is Kamala going to come back? No, Tim Walz thinks he's going to run. I don't think that's going to happen. Gavin Newsom's going to run, but Gavin Newsom's so slimy. He looks like Joel Osteen's personal injury attorney. And California's been a train wreck, so I don't know how that's going to go for Gavin Newsom. He's trying to move back towards the center. We'll see if that happens. Could I see Stephen A. on a Democratic presidential debate stage in 2028? I'm going to be honest with you. I could. I don't think he's just completely saying it for the sake of saying it. I think that his ego, his massive ego, could lead him into the race in 2028. Now, we'll see. I'm not predicting it'll happen. But could it happen? I think it could happen. I think the bigger question is why on earth would you want to? This is for anybody. You watch politics in this world, you see what are said about politicians online and elsewhere. Who would want to sign up for that job? That's the thing. For like all of the criticisms that you could make of Donald Trump could have had an easier life taking the incredible amount of money that he has and just going somewhere and coasting to the finish line of his life. And now, like him or hate him, whatever your opinion is, he's been embroiled in the hottest heat that there is in our society for about a decade. Who wants that smoke? Even if you're somebody that has good ideas, even if you're somebody who is concerned and wants to help your fellow citizens, do you want the smoke? Stephen A's got a great gig. He's talking about life at ESPN and Disney is great, he says. But I might have to do this. I might be called to help my country. Think about it hard, Stephen A. Think about it hard. You got one of the best gigs in the entire world. If you somehow stumble your way into Washington and find yourself in the White House, you might be getting a prize that you don't want, my friend.
Speaking of presidents, have you guys heard this? I just wanted to insert this to debunk a rumor I heard.
Michelle Obama now slamming speculation her marriage is in trouble during a new podcast with Sophia Bush.
This year, people were, they couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. This couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself, right?
Right.
A visible presence on the campaign trail last year, Obama was a no-show at this year's inauguration and at former President Carter's funeral, fueling rumors of divorce. Without mentioning those events, she now says she feels new freedom to say no, choosing to consider what's best for her rather than what others want from her.
All right, so you guys heard that. You guys know I'm one of the queens of receipts, all right? So there's that. Here's why I circled Rubio's name.
One of his top boys, Elon Musk, Doge, owns X. Who else was at the inauguration? Jeff Bezos. The man running TikTok. And Lord knows who else. And then you got folks like Candace Owens, who's a Trump supporter, along with various others, with their microphones, their cameras, and their audience. If you think the liberals are overcoming that, you go ahead and watch Schumer and those 21 other senators talk their drivel. J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody will be the next president in 2028. You'll have nobody but yourselves to blame.
Very, very interesting. I want you to let that rest. Sit on that. Let's talk about that in the comment section. But until then, what do you think about these next few points?
In just a second, but I wanted to move on to this right here. Because did y'all see this report that Vice President Kamala Harris paid Oprah Winfrey's production company nearly $2.5 million for her support during the campaign? Initial reports said the Harris campaign shelled out $1 million. However, two sources told the New York Times that Winfrey's production company was actually paid closer to the $2.5 million. That number pales in comparison to the estimated $1.5 billion that Harris and the Democrats spent in their failed campaign to win the White House. Why would that piss me off? Why? This is Oprah Winfrey we talk about. What the hell is your production company doing getting anything from the Harris campaign? This is the same Oprah Winfrey that has donated to Cory Booker's campaign in the past. Remember Senator Carol Moseley Braun? Oprah Winfrey donated to her campaign when she was running for the U.S. Senate. Remember when Barack Obama won the presidency in 2008? They said at the time reportedly that Oprah Winfrey's impact equated to more than 1 million votes in his favor over Hillary Rodham Clinton in a Democratic primary. So here you are, donating to Democrats all over the place, which, by the way, Oprah Winfrey has done for decades. You giving money. You giving money. Think about this. Remember Stacey Abrams in Georgia? According to reports, Oprah Winfrey gave her over $10 million. I've got the news right in front of me.
The donations highlighting the things that she has done for candidates she has supported. What's the theme here, ladies and gentlemen? Oprah is usually doling out money. But now your production company is getting a piece, which is pennies to Oprah Winfrey. And she issues the statement talking about it wasn't to her, it was to her production team. And oh, by the way, they had to be paid. End of story. That is not the end of the story. That is not the end of the story.
Now, y'all know I just work here, so I'm just showing you receipts. But here is something that I found.
Was Oprah Winfrey paid to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for president? As some viral posts have claimed, well, Ariane Till is looking into a $1 million payment that has some people questioning the authenticity of Oprah's support.
Numerous celebrities endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president, including Oprah Winfrey, who hosted a live stream town hall with Harris in September. Following the election, some Harris critics on social media have questioned the authenticity of Winfrey's endorsement, implying campaign finance records show that the Harris campaign actually paid for Winfrey's endorsement. Several Verify viewers asked us if that was true. Here's what we can verify using these sources. Political candidates must report campaign-related donations and expenses regularly to the Federal Elections Commission. FEC data shows the Harris campaign made two $500,000 payments to Harpo Productions, Winfrey's production company, on October 15, 2024, nearly a month after the town hall event. Winfrey was asked about the rumor while walking to her car.
Is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
A spokesperson for Harpo Productions shared a statement supporting Winfrey's claim, saying the campaign paid for the production costs of Unite for America, and that Winfrey was at no point during the campaign paid a personal fee, nor did she receive a fee from Harpo. Winfrey, a registered independent, has a history of endorsing Democratic candidates in elections, including those for president. So, while we can verify that Harris's campaign paid Oprah Winfrey's production company $1 million for hosting a town hall event, there is no evidence to support the implication that it was connected to Oprah's endorsement of Harris.
Now, I can't tell you what to think, but I do want you to think about this next audio clip.
I'm going to say something that isn't popular to say, but you know something, the Democrats need to hear this. Y'all are very, very fond of talking about how Donald Trump lies. Some of the things that have made people uncomfortable about Donald Trump, I got news for you. He hasn't lied. Didn't he say tariffs was what he was going to live by? Did he not say that he was going to close those damn borders? I believe he said that. He didn't hint towards misogyny for black men that could possibly vote against Kamala Harris. He didn't do that. He wasn't somebody that was scared to do interviews half the time and was at the mercy of people connected to her campaign instead of recognizing she was the Democratic nominee and she was supposed to be running the show and she was supposed to be the boss. You told us so? Yeah, you did. What you didn't do was tell us enough about you and what you would ultimately stand for. That's why he's the president. That's why the GOP is in control of the House and the Senate. And the Democrats on the outside looking in. The fact that I am a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America, according to the polling for the Democratic Party, is the most clear-cut evidence of how pathetic of a state of affairs that exists within the Democratic Party today. I have no business being on that list whatsoever. I am not qualified, but it just shows how pathetic things are at this.
All right, family, I hope at this point that you have a copious amount of receipts and you're taking notes because this is what we're going to have to deal with. So get ready, get ready.
I'm done with you. I am done with you. I'm done. Go to commercial. I ain't talking this with you.
We can't go to commercial.
By the way, you can walk away like Jay Williams, but you can't be saved by the bell. You can't be saved by the bell. This ain't football. This is boxing.
You see what's on the screen, right? Yeah, Stephen has muscle, and I can testify to that because when Stephen spoke out against me, and I didn't have Oprah kind of money, I didn't get to say so. But these next few guys, they want to say something to you.
So StephenASmith is plotting on running for president in 2028, and I'm going to be honest, he might win that. Y'all got to realize part of this is a popularity contest. It's not all politics. Stephen A is one of the biggest sports analysts in the world. He's controversial, and he's great at debating. He doesn't win all of his debates, but he's great at it. If Stephen A. actually runs in 2028, one thing he has to do, is stand on business. Like that whole LeBron happened in the White House. If you say something, you gotta stand on it. Ain't no backtrack.
You are absolutely bullshit. Like, everything he's saying is bullshit. There's just like, if I put the time in, I could totally run for president. He might as well say like, if I put 6 months in, I could totally fight Mike Tyson. All he's doing is just talking. There's nothing serious. He is the most unserious human being who just likes the attention. And that is what you are giving him with this. Congratulations, Pablo. You just fell into the trap. The egomaniac wants people to talk about him, and you just did it, and you tricked me and Tim into taking part of this, and I want no part of it, Pablo. I don't want it, because he doesn't want this. He just wants attention. I'm kind of intrigued on the other hand. Damn it, Tim! Damn it! I thought you were with me. I'm spiritually with you, but I don't know. Don't let the shadow emerge. My shadow self is tingling.
Valerie, focus us back, and we are digressing.
All right, family, I'm about to get out of here, but before I do, I wanted to just share a story with you. I met Kwame Brown quite a while ago. I've only seen him one time in my life. We had dinner a few weeks ago. But anyway, I introduced him to Joshua Brown. He is so cool, super, super, super cool. You don't want to get on his bad side, that I learned. But just recently I learned his beef with StephenASmith. And you know what? I get it. I get it. I get it.
Kwame Brown, God bless him, is a scrub. He can't handle the ball, can't post up, can't play defense, can't do anything. Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win the championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He has no game whatsoever, doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry, the man cannot play the game of basketball.
Stephen A., you built a career off of me. A 17, 18-year-old kid, you think you walk around like you some big tough man, and your only talent is knowing a bunch of big words and talking disrespectful to children, to teenagers.
Kwame Brown, I know.
Well, you know what, Stephen? That was very mature of you. That was a very mature thing for you to do, to publicly apologize to Kwame Brown, because he deserved that apology. He definitely did. Now, can I get one? Because you said a lot of things that weren't true about me, in defense of a person you did not know just because he played defense. Whew, child. The stories I could tell. But anyway, let me play this audio clip for you guys because this conversation betwixt Kwame Brown and Joshua Brown was a great introduction.
To the show. This time, for real. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm blessed. We got TJ Loftin hanging out with us, too. His mic is open. But what do you think, Mr. Brown?
Well, let me say hello to everyone on the panel first. And I hope you're doing well. But I learned a long time ago that in our community, we don't like successful blacks. We only look at it like they got lucky. It's a deep-rooted envy because you have to look at yourself. The excuse of slavery, the excuse of I had it hard. If you see somebody right next to you who had it just like you, who had it just as hard as you, and they made it, then you have to look in the mirror about your decision-making. And a lot of people don't want to look in the mirror about their decision-making. I say it all the time. My life is a walking testimony of what a kid can do who mother gives him that mother's cooking, that mama's cooking. And what I mean by that is just basically time. Everything a child learns is learned behavior. I didn't go to school acting a certain way because I couldn't act that way at home. I had nobody around me acting like that. I had brothers who went astray, but and that's in every family. We have so many people, getting in their feelings. We have adults getting in their feelings about certain things, but at the end of the day, children can do amazing things, even in distressed situations, if you allow them the room to dream themselves out of that situation. If you allow them to, don't give them your fear. The main ones that was telling me I wasn't going to make it was adults that already failed. So I just learned to just focus on the win and not focus on losses. The loss is a lesson instead of a loss. So in our community, anybody who's trying to do positive things for our community, just know that you're going to get attacked. And the reason for that is there's a lot of money in the dysfunction. There's people that are going out to get degrees, not to be good, productive people in the world at their field. They're going to get degrees to tell somebody else how impressed they are. So there's a lot. It's big business in black dysfunction, and I'll leave it at that.
TJ, did you want to comment before I jump in?
Yeah,
Do you want to respond to what he said?
Yeah, I actually do. I think that not every community is the same, because the way I grew up, it was a lot of love. And, we didn't have a lot of money. We all worked together. So when my buddy became successful, I was excited for him because, we grew up, he was sharing. He shared his candy, let me ride his bike, his skateboard. So I knew now he's having money, he's having his Mercedes. I already knew when can I pick it up? Because we shared with each other. So just like when I started building those lowriders and custom cars and started my business, he already knew, my friends already knew they had a place because it was an us thing. They watched me grow. They didn't just watch me grow, they helped me grow. So I was literally, being guided and helped all the way through the whole process. I had people making sure that I was successful because there was a cooperative economic thing, a bunch of us working together to get somewhere. My direction toward that success looked different than other people's direction, but the positive ones in the community, we were told to keep on doing that and stay away from this. And they're going to support us to make sure that we can get there. Because one person that gets out gets to throw the rope back and pull the rest of us out. That's the kind of community I grew up in. Now I ain't going to lie, they did have your one or two people who had something negative to say, who hated that camaraderie between us working together. But I noticed that the community was the one who pushed him back to make sure that TJ was successful in defense of other people who are being hated on. And that's a big problem in our community is when people don't say something. We got to say something to make sure that the people who are shining just a little bit, and we can tell that they're going to shine, that they reach their goal. That's my thoughts.
What do you guys? What do you think we're going to do we need to do with our media when the system, especially social media, almost demands that you act out of character and you do things to kind of match the energy of the toxic version or the toxic communities? What do you think?
You want to go?
No, go ahead, brother. I appreciate it. I'll come after you.
Me personally, I think the TV, the internet, and the rappers are taken away from the fathers being heroes in their own home. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. When you have athletes and rappers as the thing that everybody is looking up to when they're meant to just entertain, that's your problem. They're feeding our culture just the wrong things. Everybody's talking about drilling. It's sex, money, or murder with our culture. Those are the things that's pushed to the forefront in our culture. We have now Chrisean Rock and Blueface. This relationship should not even be on TV, but unfortunately, other kids are going to watch this and they're going to emulate this bad behavior. I say it all the time, I watch behavior. So what I'm going to do on my channel to highlight some of the heroes that I know of is it's the coaches in your local school system. It's the mentors in your local school system. It's the men and women, the nurses, the guidance counselors. It's the men and women that's pouring back into these kids on a daily basis. People that's on the internet, people that's just giving out turkeys, people that are not there on a day-to-day grind don't really understand the struggles and the emotional stress that these kids are under. It's a lot of pressure up under these teenage girls and up under these teenage boys, because in the blink of an eye, between 13 and 18, that's when the gangs come calling, 12 and 18. So I think we should highlight the mentors of the men and women in the community that's pouring into these kids every day.
So what are you doing in the community, and also what do you think regarding your career? You have this fabulous career that we should remember, and that might be inspiration to up-and-coming basketball players.
To answer your basketball question, I would say preparation. Be prepared. I was ready to go sign, sealed, and delivered to a D1 college by my sophomore year. So most of the athletes, they focus on basketball first. But you have to focus on your academics first in order to be eligible to play basketball. And what I'm doing in the community, I'm a grassroots I'm a grounded person. So it's a case-by-case situation with me. I never knew anything about telling people and everything else what you're doing. People call my phone all the time. We need this, we need that. How I was in the sending waters and things like that, non-perishable goods to Howard University last year, is just a woman reached out to me. So I'm always available to people who are trying to help others because it's just in me, not on me. I came from a situation where I just understood that people need help, but a hand up, not a hand out. So I'm the type of person, we got some kids in, I won't say the state, but we got some kids in the state that's going to church. The young boys are starting to learn basketball. They're going to start learning a basketball program. We're going to get them in self-defense programs so they're not just fighting. I think young boys need some form of martial arts or some discipline so that they can get that out. A lot of times they're being taught by women to just sit down and walk away and turn away, and that's not really in a young boy's nature. So they need space to get some discipline, and I'm not talking about reckless abandonment. I'm talking about some boxing or martial arts, and most times in that situation, it make kids not fight. So we just tackling all realms of what they need. We also give back a work program for teenagers. We're trying to put teenagers to work, and we're getting them internships where they're working. One of the most important things for a young man is when they see a mother home struggling by herself, they're going to try to find a way to get some money. And whether that be legally or illegally, I think that's one of the main goals that the government should be thinking about. When I was young, we had a lot of teenage work programs for teenagers to make money. That will stop a lot of the robberies, a lot of the stuff, if it's a ways that they can, do something with. But if it's not, it's so flashy with the streets that they'll probably go to that. So, and that's just the things that we're focused on. The three things is the confidence of these young males and young women, etiquette with the young women, the young boys, the confidence, learning how to defend themselves, learning a skill and a trade. So I've just been touching on all those different areas through the church.
Hey, Judge.
Let me clear something up. We don't study history to celebrate. We study history to learn its lessons, to apply those lessons to our present so we can favorably shape our future. Anything else is nonsense. And that's the problem with Black history. They're celebrating some effectively minor accomplishments. They don't teach the significance of the things that count that have happened, and we don't learn lessons. Now, whatever shapes the future, because we find a lesson in what happened when it occurred in the past that we can apply to the here and now. That's Black history. So that's the way we ought to be dealing with things, not running around celebrating somebody who tap danced or sang or something that hasn't done anything about making our present any better. So let's get away from that. We don't need to celebrate anything. This is an opportunity to learn. We do it. And all of this crap about every time you see somebody, it's a bunch of Black folk in a lion dance out in front of some place, that's got to stop, because that's not what Black history is about. It may be about Black studies, but it's not Black history. So a lot of stuff's going wrong. And until we want to deal with the hard choices, which is we're going to have to learn the lesson that every ethnic group has learned, and that is when people deal with the effort necessary to advance the ethnicity, then they get someplace. When they don't, they don't. And we need to do that. And I'm looking at this situation with the blue gang down here, which is what it was some young thugs with college educations that happened to have wanted to do something about straightening Memphis up, which is very necessary, but they went the wrong way. This wasn't a matter of just a random black person hauled over and jacked up by a police unit. What's out there on the streets is that it was targeted. It was a baby mama situation, according to what's going on. The whole thing has been ineptly and badly handled. It's been handled in an unprofessional fashion, and they've got a mess going on that they don't know how to clean up. Now, I feel very sorry for this family. I do. But there are also 648 other families who have lost their loved ones in the last 24 and a half months in Memphis. What do you say to them when one family is getting all of the attention? When the rest of them are calling me up saying, Judge, how come I can't go to the police and they won't tell me anything about what happened with my son or my daughter or my sister or my mother or my dad or granddad? Nobody has offered a solution. We just had to endure Al Sharpton, who wanted to push his book, and we had Kamala Harris, who doesn't have a clue. And it looks to me, considering some of the relationships involved in this, that what we have is an effort. And if you want, we can talk about this next week. But I just left the doctor's appointment, routine scheduled checkup. Everything went well. I've got another one I'm sitting out in the parking lot trying to deal with. So people, pay attention to the significance of what you're looking at. Don't believe just because you hear it on mainstream media. Now, they get it wrong most of the time. I'll give you an example. Some years ago, somebody was arguing with me about what happened in a criminal case. And I was the presiding judge, and I was trying to tell this damn fool, I said, that's not what happened. Yes, it is. They had it in the commercial appeal. I said, Well, that's what they said. They weren't even in there. Yeah, well, how were they? See, you don't know. I said, I was the judge. I was there when it was done. That's not what happened, fool. But you see, he wanted to believe it because he read it. It is written, therefore it is. So what with the way we can put stuff in writing now through social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, fill pictures in it and all kinds of other stuff, it's not going to work until we get smart enough to understand that we have to do the hard labor of looking at something, looking it up, researching it, and doing our own investigation. So,
Judge, do you mind saying hello to I know you wanted to holler at Kwame real quick, and I know we'll extend the invitation for you to have a conversation with TJ.
Run with it and TJ too. And I know Kwame's 411. Get the other gentleman for me too. So I told Kwame that what I wanted him to do was tell us what he thinks we ought to be into and what we ought to be looking at. Okay? Now, I will check out. Hello, young brothers. Carry on.
All right, guys, that is it. I have held you long enough. Gosh, this was a long video today, huh? But anyway, I got very colorful with the backgrounds today, so I hope you like that because we do not record in studio. We have a call-in show, so, I got to do what I do so that I don't bore you. That kind of rhymed. It was sort of cool. But anyway, listen, what was the other thing? Of course, Valerie picked the one out of many slew of interviews where Judge and Kwame were not interacting, but that's okay because I think I I know for a fact I booked Judge once on Kwame's show, maybe once or twice, but Kwame Brown has a channel. Please go over there and support him. Please. He's doing a bunch of great things. The other thing is, please support me. Please, please, please support me. Hit the like button, subscribe, meet me in the comment section, leave a comment, tell a friend who will tell a friend. And if you'd like to donate to support this channel, please do so. All the links are in the description or somewhere on my page. I don't know. But yeah, this has been great. I had fun today. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a lot of things. And if you've got a topic you want me to talk about, please leave it in the comments section and I will do my best to address it, okay? I love you guys to life. I can't say that enough. I'm going to leave you now with the video that we started with to remind you why we are here today. All right. That's it. Yeah. I'm out of here. Bye.
He's the #1 overall pick. And this 13-year career, this career that doesn't end up as a Hall of Famer or doesn't end up as this or as that, these are things I can critique him on.
Is it really a critique when a man states an opinion and you've created a word called bust to where everything that I say now has been invalidated by this word bust? StephenASmith, a guy who can't do what I do, came up with a word that a guy working at Walmart can use against me and think it has some power. But you want me to believe that this is just talking about a game?